Hey, 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 Mom Nation, and welcome back to the very last episode of 2025. Darian, can you believe we're already here?
I can't believe it.
I know, it's crazy. So crazy. I know it's like so everybody says it and everybody feels it, but man, time flies. It's
Yes,
ridiculous,
I feel like I was just making vision boards for 2025.
right?
hmm
Ooh, and how did your 2025 pan out? Did you hit some things on your vision board? I always love to
I
ask
have
that
to
question.
I have to revisit it, but I think I hit a few things.
I
A
think I
lot of it was around like self-care and just slowing down, and I definitely achieved a lot of that. So it feels good.
the most important thing, right?
hmm
I
hmm
mean, the whole cliche saying, but it's so, so true. Got to put that oxygen mask on first. Otherwise, what good are you if you're
You
on
got
the
that
floor?
right. You got that
Mm.
right.
So that's a giant. And, let's just slide right into the topic for today. Everybody who is here has probably seen us before, probably knows what this show is all about. But if you don't, Darian and I are here talking about girlfriends, talking about women supporting women, talking about that feeling that you get when you've got somebody in your life that is supportive, that is on your page, that is real. We're really talking about, I mean, that pretty much each and every month. So let's dive right into this holiday season because I know that it can be difficult, right? Not only because of the hustle and bustle, not only because there's so much more on the calendar, um, but also because most of us are feeling that financial pinch too, right? So that's stressful. We're feeling the relationship pinch too, right? Like that's really stressful. I always feel like the holidays sort of test your relationships, whether they be your romantic relationships or your friendships or your relationships with family. So I feel like there's just a lot of stuff, a lot of overwhelm that we as women are dealing with. And I want to dive into some of that with you today. So, having the women's circle that we often talk about, that you do, that we're so grateful for you doing, by the way, there needs to be so much more of that in the world. But having that women's circle and having already gone through the beginning of the holiday season, so like, Halloween, which quickly goes into Thanksgiving, were there any conversations that popped up and maybe some challenges that were uncovered that you're sort of seeing kind of be popular feelings throughout the women that you speak with?
Yeah, I think so. I think a lot of the theme is just expectations behind holidays. That was something that we talked about a lot. And then, to your point, it reveals maybe relationships that are strained um, or that we wish were different. I think it brings up a lot of different feelings and emotions. And a lot of the theme, I think, was around a relationship. So whether it's a family member or a romantic partner or with your children, as far as whether they live far away
Mm.
or caring for aging parents or,
Mm-hmm.
some people are going through separations or divorces or wish they were in a relationship. So I feel like that's the common theme is just, caring for ourselves around the holidays and, just knowing that nothing has to be perfect. And just because it's Christmas doesn't mean everything has to be perfect in your relationships. And just because it's Hanukkah doesn't mean you have to give everybody the perfect gift. And maybe you're tired at Thanksgiving and you want to show up in your sweats. It's
Yeah,
just, honoring yourself and just knowing that you can just show up as yourself.
totally agree. I feel like we sort of have that expectation of others and of ourselves to be extra cheerful around this time, right?
Uh,
Eh,
it's too much.
right? It's too much. It is too much. And obviously, like, tis the season, blah, 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 like all of those cliche sayings. Um, but we are dealing with things that happen maybe all year long, things that happen maybe in our past. Like we're all dealing with these things. And sometimes we don't feel cheerful, even though we think we should. And I think that can be a real difficult personal sort of inner fight, inner challenge. have you talked with anybody that has shared that with you in your groups, that they're like, hey man, like I just put a smile on my face so my kids can see it, but honestly inside I don't feel like smiling.
Absolutely. I mean, not just around the holidays, but I feel like it's exacerbated around the holidays, right? So, I mean, a personal example for me is my mom passed away on New Year's Eve day.
Mm,
So, like, it's this year will be 2 years. Like, that's not very long at all. And Christmas was her thing, right? Like,
mm,
holidays were her jam. So it's really hard. You made a point earlier in one of your bullets is being able to find joy and also being in grief at the same time. So I also have
yeah.
an 11-year-old daughter. So for me to put on that happy face for her and want to put up the stockings and put up the tree and all the things. I still enjoy those things, but and I love doing those things with her, but there's also that underlying um, you know, oh, that 2-year anniversary is coming up and mom would have loved this and things like that. So I think I think there's that perception that we have to just be happy and, oh, the holidays are coming, it's supposed to be great, and we just love it all. And to be honest with you, before I had kids, personally, I did not like Christmas. I thought it
Mm,
was I thought it was just overdone, right? My mom
mhm,
always made it special, but when you move out of the house, you're in your 20s, it just wasn't a big deal to me. And it wasn't until I had my daughter that it really became special. So, I would just be like, can we just, I can't wait to get past Christmas. So you have that too,
mhm.
right? And then people are looking at you like, what's wrong with you? You don't like Christmas?
Mm,
And it's okay if
right.
you don't. It's okay if you don't. It's okay if you're not into it. It's okay if it's not your thing. I'm very much a Halloween girl myself.
Same.
But yeah, and it's not that I don't like it, but there's some different feelings that come along with it. So what I like to talk about is just, making sure that you're taking care of yourself, you're caring for yourself, you're putting yourself first. It can be really hard, especially if you have kids that you're like, I just got to make sure I do for them. And ladies, I mean, let's be honest, it's not just Christmas that we do that or the holidays that we do that. That's all the time. We're always putting our kids first. And I'm not saying that that's bad or negative, but you have to take care of yourself first. You have to make sure that you're spending time with those that fill your cup. I just had a lunch with a friend, and man, I feel so full. And spending time with you, Katie, like it makes me feel so
Oh.
full, right? As opposed to, oh my God, did I get that last gift on Amazon? And oh, I'm
Mhm,
going to see that person tomorrow. Did I make sure I got them something? So just making sure that we're doing things to fill our cups. And if you don't have time to hang out with a friend, visit with a friend, text somebody. I get random texts from friends that are just like, hey, send me a funny meme or a reel or something. And those things I feel like go a long way. So just, making sure you're supporting each other. If you think of a friend, text her, just say hi. If you think of somebody that that you think might be struggling, she might be. So just
right.
saying, oh, here's a funny reel, or this made me think of you. So just make sure we're supporting ourselves during this time of really high expectations. And just knowing that if the season is not your jam, that's okay.
I feel like that needs to be like louder for those in the back, right?
Hmm.
Because I think as women we naturally have guilt, whether we bring it on ourselves or what have you, and I think that that is another opportunity to really lay the guilt on ourselves. Is right there. Hey, I don't feel joyful, and I really should during this season. But I think that that's an opportunity to dig a little bit deeper, and maybe you do know why you don't feel joyful because like you mentioned, maybe it sort of brings up a traumatic past experience where you've lost somebody very close to you, and the season just the smells and the lights and the everything just kind of brings that back. um you know or I don't know, you know what I'm getting at here.
Yes, 100%. It doesn't have to be all stockings and trees. It can be whatever you want to make it.
Totally agree. And I think, to speak again to your point about the relationships that maybe um, aren't talking with them consistently and you just think of them and reach out, and how wonderful that is. And I totally agree with you. But what about when it exposes a friendship that maybe just isn't so great, a relationship that maybe just isn't so great? And you almost feel like that obligatory gift or that obligatory visit card, that kind of thing. I feel like that's an opportunity to really sit and reevaluate what you're doing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, who's supporting you that you want to support too? I mean, I I don't know how many times I'm like, "Oh, I have to get this person something, or I have to get that person something, or I have to send them a Christmas card," and it's just like, "Why? I haven't talked to them since last year," or whatever the case may be, and it's not even in a negative context. It's just like you don't have to feel obligated, um, s to be there for that person, then that's hasn't been there for you. And I know, and it's not like we're keeping a tally. It's not like we're going, well, I got her a gift last year, she didn't get me anything, but it's just like
Right.
their actions throughout the whole year. um so I'm pretty fortunate that I've had a lot of people that have been there for me, that show up for me regularly, not to mention all of the amazing people that come and go here at the Zen Den, that I feel very fortunate. But I've also experienced, and we've had other women experience that, like, I've showed up for her all year long, and I don't feel like she's showing up for me. So, again, I think it
Mm,
just comes back down to honoring yourself, and it can be really hard, especially, women, we carry a lot of guilt. So what's going to
yeah.
happen if I just stop reaching out? Um or it could be that fear of, loneliness of losing that friend, but you have to realize that, you're more important. Your feelings and what you need is more important than, maybe a friendship that might not be worth saving anymore.
Right. And is it time to evaluate, maybe you're a little codependent or something,
Mhm.
That's not,
Or they are.
or they are, exactly. And if you're in that space, I feel like, at this point in my life, personally, I have that hard conversation. Like, hey, here's how I'm feeling. 9 times out of 10, they're probably feeling it too, right? It's not just us. But how do you have that conversation? Have you had experience with that and kind of in your comings and goings?
Um, Actually, I have a really close friend of mine that I've been friends with for 35 years. I just visited her in Florida. We had an amazing time, but we've had a roller coaster of a relationship in 35 years. We've
Mm,
gone through phases of where I don't know if this friendship is going to last. We've been through some pretty rough stuff, and we've had some really open and honest conversations, as of late in the last couple years. It's just like you get to a point where that stuff that you dealt with in your teens and 20s just isn't going to make it in your adult life anymore, right? So some of those
mhm.
behaviors and ways that you treated each other over the years, like, we're done with that. So which way is this relationship going? So you know when we've talked in the past, Katie, and you've mentioned that you will just, straight up tell somebody, or, question the relationship, it almost makes me cringe. I'm just like, how could I do that?
Mhm,
How could I do
mhm.
that? How would I do it? But honestly, she and I have done that many times over the years, is evaluated our friendship, and I honestly think it's made us stronger. So I love
Yeah,
that you've said in the past that, I'm going to question this friendship, I'm going to question this relationship, and if it's not worth pursuing, it's not worth pursuing. But
right.
what's great about having those conversations is you realize who you want to choose and who chooses you.
I agree totally. And I feel like in order to have a good, wholesome, relationship where both parties are giving, like they're equally yoked, right? They're giving the same. You have to be able to have hard, uncomfortable conversations, respect one another enough to hear each other. So, for example, I was going to say I love that you've had conflict with your friend. That's not really what I mean. Okay. I don't really mean that. I love that you have overcome conflict with your friend. And does anything float to the top of your mind that you can suggest to our audience, our followers, how they might be able to start that conversation. I mean, I know it's different for everybody. It just kind of depends on who you are and who the other person is. But anything come to mind that would be helpful?
I think it's just to start whether you decide, is the juice worth the squeeze, right? Is this a relationship worth saving? And and I'll tell you, just because we've been friends for 35 years, I've dismissed friends that I've known just as long, or
Mm,
or for similar length of time, that I'm just like, this person is not worth my time. And I don't care how long I've known you. If we don't jive, I'm not gonna spend any more time with you. So some of the conversations that we've had, she's initiated, honestly.
mm,
We've gone different directions and then we've come back together. We've gone different directions and we've come back together. Maybe it's through text. We've had, text conversations. So if you're not feeling comfortable as far as, actually calling somebody, and we've talked about this too, having a face-to-face conversation, calling somebody, it can be, especially if, you've dealt with conflict in your life and it's been traumatizing. I think that's a thing. That's a whole different podcast. But starting the conversation with a text, just like, hey, I'm feeling a certain type of way, or, this is how I felt when you said this, and actually sharing of how you feel instead of, well, you did this, or you're always doing this. So staying away from that kind of context and going in with the context of, this is how you made me feel when you said this, or um I'm not sure where our friendship is going, but this is what I'm experiencing or how I feel, instead of pointing the finger, or, coming off as a victim, like, you always make me feel this way, or you always do this, is coming from a place of love, not
mm.
only for yourself, but for them. And, instead of pointing the finger, speaking with your heart.
I could not agree more, really. And as I'm getting a little older, because it's like, wow, all this wisdom comes later in life. It's great. I'm well into my 40s now. And you know what
Mhm.
I love? I love boundaries, Darian.
100%.
Boy, do I love them. And I feel like this, like, 'tis the season for boundaries, right?
Mhm, mhm,
And one of my very favorite therapists, you know and love her, name is Diana Eisel. I'll just name drop a little bit here,
mhm.
explains boundaries like this. And it's the simplest explanation to the most complex thing that I've ever heard. And I love her for it. Is boundaries are not what you're going to do, it's what I'm going to do. So, in other words, like to your example, a good friend says something, or a friend says something, does something that's not that crosses your boundary. Let them do that, them, right? But it's, what are we gonna do? And I feel like that is could be part of the conversation as well. Like, hey, okay, like, you do you say the things that you want to say, but because I felt XYZ, or because I feel XYZ when you say that, I'm probably going to do whatever, like, go dark for a couple of months, or whatever it is that you do. How do you feel about that? Are you a boundary lover too? Have
Ugh,
you Okay, so you're on my
so
page.
much,
Mhm.
so much, 100%. Um, and, it's the lunch I was just having with a friend, we were talking about, relationships, and I was telling her, since becoming a business owner, I've had people that I thought were friends that turned out to not be friends, people that have made commitments that just ghost and disappear. Like, it's happened so much. It is mind blowing. People that I thought were friends, people that made commitments, people that signed documents, even, that just decided that they were gonna ghost. We're kind of in this weird cancel culture, right? And
Yeah,
to
it's
your
weird.
point, I have to decide how I'm gonna deal with it. We've talked about this in the past. How am I gonna deal with this? Am I gonna take this personally? Am I gonna turn off my heart? That's the other thing, right? Not only
Mm,
did I try to bring them into my business, but I considered them friends.
yeah.
Um, so to your point, and my suggestion is, and how I feel about boundaries, love 100%. We get to decide. We get to choose how we're going to react. So either we let somebody know, you know what, I really need some space from this for a little bit, or we just decide we're just kind of done. I love speaking the boundary, putting the boundary in writing, letting everybody know the person, okay, we're done here. Or I'm gonna just take some time to think about this,
Hmm.
because we get to decide how people treat us.
Yeah, we give them permission, right?
Yes.
Whether we're acknowledging that or not, we give them permission to treat us how they're going to treat us. And I love the explanation from Diana because I think that it can get a little confused as to what a boundary is. And sometimes I hear the talk on social media and they're like, "Oh, well don't do that because that crosses my boundary." Mm. It's not about what you're going to do, it's about what I'm going to do, right? And that's
Yes.
all that we can be responsible for. Because the other thing is control. That's control, right? Like you're going to do XYZ because I don't like it. That's control,
Yes.
not boundary.
Yes. 100%.
So
And speaking of
speaking of,
speaking of
please do.
boundaries, no, I was just gonna say, we touched on it before we went live here, but uh, we're in the holiday season. We're often put into situations where we're with family, that maybe we haven't set boundaries with, or there's
Mm,
somebody that is going to crawl under your skin, or you're going to be put in a situation that's not going to be comfortable, or that you just don't love. And again, it's the holidays. It just seems like it happens. You're with family members that might have different views, um, or maybe are ill, or maybe not in their right mind. So that's a whole thing, right?
right?
There's a
Like,
difference. There's a difference if they know. There's a difference if they don't know. But it's going to bring up a lot of things for you. So I just like to give a few tips around this time of year. They don't have to be around the holidays, but some things that I like to share that are just quick, easy to help you just regulate yourself this time of year. It could even be something that's joyful. If you're getting ready to walk into a party or a gathering, or maybe you have to get together with your ex
mm,
uh, because you share children. So just some quick, simple things that you can do before you walk into that situation is just pause. It sounds so simple. And take 3 deep breaths. Just stop, take 3 deep breaths before you walk in. And, again, you can use this anytime. And I just want you to notice how much more grounded and in your body you feel. So that when you walk into that situation, you're already regulated, you're already grounded, and and you feel safe in your body. Another thing I like to share is just remove yourself from the situation. So this sounds
yeah.
terrible, but I used to smoke back in the day. And one thing that I loved about smoking is that I would just get up and be like, I gotta go smoke. I'm
Yep.
I'm
Going
walking
for
away from the
my butt break.
situation. Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
don't want I can just get up and walk out because I smoke. Well, I
Mm-hmm.
quit smoking quite a long time ago. So
Good
I
for
don't
you.
have, yeah, oh yeah, uh that's not something that I can just get up and say that I want to go smoke anymore. So finding your smoke break, right? So your healthy smoke break. So maybe you just even get up, go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
I would do something like grab my daughter and be like, hey, let's just go, show me this toy that you got. If there's an uncomfortable conversation, or it's making you uncomfortable, or something that you don't want to necessarily dive into, maybe just taking your kid off to the side and show me something. Kids are a great exit plan.
Yeah,
Right? So you
for
use the
sure.
excuse, I'm sure, well, she's not feeling good, we're not going to go,
Mm-hmm.
something like that. But when you're in the situation, it's really hard to just be like, I don't have a smoke break. So just using your children, and then you get some bonding time with your kid too, right? You get
Mm-hmm.
some QT one-on-one with your kid. Another is just get up and go to the bathroom. Just get up
Mm-hmm.
and go, I gotta go to the bathroom. Just get up and go to the bathroom, walk away, and take your 3 deep breaths there.
Mm-hmm.
And then going home and centering yourself again. So, taking your couple of deep breaths, maybe just assessing, sitting with yourself for a couple of minutes, spending a few minutes just by yourself, in your body, so that you can ground and kind of come back out of it, I think is really important too. So, taking a couple deep breaths before, uh, you know, feeling like it's okay to excuse yourself during, however you want to do that, start thinking about it now. If you know
Mhm.
that you're gonna be in one of those awkward situations, start thinking about what that can look like for you. And then just, assessing after the gathering, the situation, and just noticing how you feel and just honoring yourself.
I completely agree with that 100%. What do you think about, like, say you're going to a gathering with somebody? I love the idea of preparation prior to. So let's say it's either your significant other, or your kid, or both, or all, or a friend, or whatever. What about having like a code word with that friend? Like,
Such a good
hey,
idea.
right? Like everybody has, maybe not everybody, but many have like that old drunk uncle is just really inappropriate and he gets, super drunk and it's weird and you don't want to be around that, don't want your kid around that kind of thing. So, when Uncle Jerry starts going off and doing his thing, maybe there's a code word or something and the other person understands, time to go. Like
Yep.
that kind of preparation is kind of what you're getting at. I mean, I know that was
Yes.
an interesting
Such a good
example,
idea.
maybe, but
Such a great idea.
yeah, nobody wants to feel uncomfortable around old Uncle Jerry. Um, and not to like, I want to that was huge and really powerful and valuable. So thank you for sharing those tips because although they may sound very simple, I think that in the heat of the moment they can be extremely helpful, especially the grounding yourself part and feeling your personal strength before you walk into a situation that you anticipate is probably a situation. And so I don't want to jump onto this next topic and not give that the kudos, the value, the thanks that it deserves. So thank you for that. But
Of
my
course.
last thing that I think plagues us all year long, but especially during the holidays, is those pictures that you guys are seeing on social media,
Mm.
those stories about people getting together and having a great time. Yes, it's not, I'm sure people do have wonderful lives and wonderful families, and I'm sure that they do have a great time. But I'm pretty sure that the majority of us is there's some fake stuff in there,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Like,
I mean, it's the highlight reel.
yeah, that's it. And I think that we have to keep that in mind because as women, I feel like we've sort of been conditioned to making the holiday for our family, right? Like I don't necessarily like there are some guys that I see do it, but I don't necessarily see all the guys jumping in on this thing, kind of like we women do. And so I think that we could be a little extra hard on ourselves if we don't hit those goals or if we don't have those pictures or if we don't have those personal stories to share or if our story just looks and sounds very different than what we're seeing online. I think we need to hold a little bit of grace for ourselves during that time.
Oh yeah. I mean, when my daughter was young, it was just like I wanted matching jammies. I mean, I think before she was even born, I'm like, I want matching jammies, right? I want matching jammies, and her hair is going to be perfect. She's going to have the bow, and before that, when I was single, no kids, because I didn't get married and have children until much later in life.
Same.
Um, but like before that, I was just like, ugh, it's just like I don't need to see all this. It's just ugh. Um, so giving ourselves grace, whatever phase in life that we're in, we don't have to have the perfect pictures. We don't have to have the perfect relationships. Nobody's children are perfect and nothing is perfect. So,
Agreed.
as long as it feels good for you, if it feels good for you, it, just roll with that. I mean, nobody's nobody's living the perfect life and it can be really hard, looking at somebody's lights or trees. Whenever I see these trees that people do that are like themed and just incredible, I'm just like, oh my God, I've always wanted a tree like that, but I have a cat.
Yeah.
So, it's probably not in the cards for at least the next 15 to 20 years. And that's okay. I don't need to have the big, beautiful, perfectly decorated tree. I love my little hobo tree or, with all the handmade ornaments and things like that. So
Yes.
that feels good for me.
I agree 100%. I could not get rid of, and I have felt that way as well. Like, wow, that's just so beautiful and perfect. But I have, a couple of grandma's old ornaments. I'm not getting rid of those.
Yes.
I
Oh
have
yeah,
like
same.
I have the macaroni ornaments that my kid made me when he was in preschool. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
that macaroni, for as long as it's going to hold out, and it's held out for good many years now.
Mhm.
But that macaroni is going to hold out and is going to be on my tree for as long as it does. And I'm not
Yes.
ashamed about that, because it does hold so much for me in terms of memory and in terms of feeling. So thank you for sharing that. You and we parallel in that respect, because I agree wholeheartedly. I've felt that way too, and I like my tree with all my mismatched ornaments on it. It means a lot to me.
Me too.
I
Maybe
know that
someday
we
I'll get I've, like, said in the past, like, maybe I'll get a separate tree that I do that with, right? Like, get all the I don't know. Me and my daughter, we went to Home Goods and our minds were blown, but we really love our tree with all of our cute homemade ornaments, so maybe a second tree someday.
Yeah, Home Goods is did you say Home Goods? What about
Yeah,
like At Home? At Home is the one that I went to recently, and I was like, "Whoa, holy
dangerous.
Christmas." Yeah. Yeah, totally. But you really get that feeling when you're in there, like, okay, now I see where people get their stuff when they do
Yeah.
when they do this, the theme thing. One thing I want to say before we end for the year is
Wild.
it is wild. I want to say to everybody out there, every single ear that is hearing me right now, is you're doing a great job. You're
So
doing
true.
amazing. You're doing your best. And your great job, you're amazing, and your best looks different than my great job, my amazing, my best, and Darian's great job, her amazing, her best. But it's all okay. And it's all what makes us different. And it's all what makes us unique. It's all what makes us have character and what makes this world honestly fun to be in. Because you know what? If we were all that top tier, themed, Christmas, perfect, like I'm just picturing a 1950s housewife, like with the pearls and the
Yes.
all, you know, like, I'm sorry, but it'd be a very boring place. Don't you think?
Yes, and I'm so glad that you shared that, that we're all just doing our best.
Yeah. And it looks
So
different
important,
for
such an important
everybody.
message.
Truly, truly. And we've all been through different things. We all have different obstacles. We're all carrying different size loads on our shoulders. It's so much. And I think that if this season means anything, give a little grace to your neighbor. Give a little grace to that girlfriend. Give a little grace to your friend. It's not about the physical things or about the tangible things. I personally feel it's about the heart, the feeling, the emotion, the support. So hopefully you all find that for yourselves out there. And for those that are struggling during this season, I feel for you. I have a level of that myself. And just understand that there are people out there that get it.
So true. Our last Women's Circle of the year is this coming Tuesday. So, if you need some support, if you just want to open your heart or open your heart for somebody else, it will be this coming Tuesday at 7:15 at the Zen Den, and we are here for you.
Awesome. 7:15 p.m. and that's Tuesday, December 16th at the Zen Den in Gilbert.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, Darian, thank you again. Thank you for being here all year. Well, I guess it wasn't all year because we kind of started a little bit into 2025, but thank you for accepting 2026, a full year of podcasts. I'm so excited to show up time and time again for our sisterhood out there, our women that really need support, really need friendship, real good, honest friendship, like not any of that fake crap out there because gross. But thank you so much for being here, for showing up, for bringing your value, your expertise, your heart, for opening up the Zen Den to the women that need it. You need to clone yourself because there really needs to be a lot more Darians. So thank you so
Thank
much.
thank you. Thanks for creating this platform for all of us.
Of course, it's my pleasure. I have a surprise. So yeah, I know. I'm full of it today. So all y'all, this is the time when I say, hey, please hop over to our YouTube channel and that what is it called? A handle. I was like, hashtag no. That's the wrong word. Our handle is at Mom Nation USA. Scroll down just a little ways. You will see the bright green playlist, and that is her inner circle. If you want to rewatch the reruns. I'm dating myself, right, Darian? Back to our
The
time.
reruns, yes.
It's not the rerun, it's the replay. But, sometimes you can't teach an old girl new tricks. So if you want to watch the reruns, then hop on over to our YouTube channel at Mom Nation USA, scroll down, blah, blah, blah. But now you don't even have to do all that work, guys, because this QR code above our heads is the link to our YouTube playlist. I know, I'm growing up in the tech world. Yay me. So check that out. What you can do if you're finding value in these episodes, if it's really helping you, or if you hear a little tidbit of information that really changed your life, you can show us your gratitude by subscribing to our channel. So please do that. Please click that little bell. If you prefer to listen podcast style, you can still subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. Do a quick search for Mom Nation Talk Radio. There you're going to find us. You will find Her Inner Circle episodes there as well. And my goodness, we will see you next year.
See you next year, friends.
What if you could hit pause? Connect? Heal? Welcome to the Zen Den of Gilbert, your wellness sanctuary. At the Zen Den, the heart of the community begins with its founder. Meet Darian Marie Pruitt, a certified yoga instructor and passionate advocate for holistic well-being. From gentle yoga and breathwork to women's circles and healing workshops, plus expert massage and aesthetic care. At the Zen Den, community, mindfulness, and holistic self-care meet. Experience the Zen Den at 3651 East Baseline Road in Gilbert, a place to connect, heal, and shine.